Minnesota did a good thing here. I want to bring up something I think that you'll definitely agree with. They were sneaky here at the end of the season. They went out
I,
and they bought some security.
I know where you're going.
And that security happened to be in the bright shining man of Daniel Jones. And God forbid something happens to Sam Darnold. You know where they're gonna look? They're gonna look they're gonna look Daniel Jones' way. And they're gonna be happy with that decision. Maybe not a Super Bowl favorite anymore, but an outsider for sure. Especially if Daniel Jones comes in.
Oh my God. If that were to happen and he does well, oh my God, Kevin O'Connell extension is going to be one of the biggest you ever seen, I guarantee.
The shrines that will be made to Daniel Jones will just trounce the Nick Foles shrines that were made.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Schlabcast. It's 2025 right now, but thank you guys for sticking with us. I know it's been a minute, but Andy and Caleb are here to give you some playoff previews for the 2024-2025 NFL season. Caleb, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm good after hibernating for the season. And I think the last thing the people heard from me was my very average week 1 picks. And then life just got busy, but I'm happy to be talking about the playoffs. So it's been an awesome season, even though the Cowboys sucked. And truth be told, my motto the entire time was just lose every game except Thanksgiving. Just we don't have the team to go all the way. It's been like that. We definitely don't have the coach. Way more on that later. But I was hoping we'd get a top 10 pick, but I'm okay with 11. Anyway, yeah, Andy, hope you've been doing good. We are recording right now in the midst of the like terrible LA wildfires, but thankfully Andy's in a safe spot for right now and not for right now. That sounds impending, but he's in a safe spot and yeah, if you're listening and impacted, we're thinking of you, and we both got a ton of friends that have been affected by this. So I've been thinking about them a ton through all this. But let's get back into the games. The first one we got up here, we have the Chargers taking on the Texans in Houston. This is actually probably a pretty evenly matched game for how each team's season went. I think both teams thought they might have a little bit of a better outcome, maybe just seeding wise, but both were looking to make the playoffs. The Texans were my preseason AFC winner to go to the Super Bowl. So I had Texans Lions, so that's still alive. Andy, how do you think this game's going to turn out?
Let's see. So it's in Houston. Did they happen to play each other earlier this year?
That's a great question.
I don't want to take all the credit, but I saw a tweet from someone. What they did mention was factors about the Chargers. I think some people might be under the radar, but great coach, great quarterback, physical team, and they don't turn the ball over. That's generally their MO, which generally bodes well for playoff caliber football.
Yeah, this is they did not play during the regular season. The Chargers were a team of streaks for sure. They threw in a 4 game winning streak. They're on the midst of a 3 game winning streak right now. They had a little bit of a lull, I guess, when December started, but they've been pretty consistent all season. I think they're gonna go into Houston and actually just keep their same just nose of the ground approach and probably pull out a close game. I think the over under for this is 40. Yeah, it's 41 and a half. I think way more points than I scored. I could see this being like a 33-26 game or something like that where they're in the mid to high 50s for sure. Houston's still a pretty good team. They definitely lost some receivers, but I still think they can put up a bunch of points pretty quickly.
Totally agree. CJ Stroud, still a great quarterback. I know he's not necessarily meeting the expectations that we maybe assumed this year, given his crazy rookie year, but he kind of came down to earth a little bit. Nonetheless, I agree. He's still a threat. They're at home. This is going to be a really close game, if I'm being honest. I still like the Chargers. Just something
Yeah,
about Jim Harbaugh, you know? It's nothing against D'Amico and the Texans. I could easily see them winning, but if I had to pick, I just like the Chargers.
the spread is Chargers by 3 on the road. So even Vegas and the people like them right now. So I think Chargers is a good pick there. Kind of mess with the seeding pool a little bit moving forward too. Could they beat Kansas City?
Did they
Probably
s-
not.
did they split their division this year?
I don't think so. Kansas City beat them when they went there. Yeah, Kansas City won in week 4 in LA, 17-10, and then
Close.
19-17.
So both
Uh,
close games.
yeah.
And then you know what they say about the like it's hard to beat a team 3 times, you know,
Oh yeah, for sure.
even if it is in Kansas City. So I like the Chargers again.
And man, Houston's just they're kind of all over the place.
It's
31-2 really sticks out still. That game against the Ravens.
yeah, it again, won't be surprised if they win, but they've just been kind of a little bit too inconsistent for me. So
Yeah.
like we both got the Chargers.
I
And
think Houston lost to the Jets too earlier in the season. Just bad losses left and right. Anyway, moving on. Both those teams are not making the Super Bowl. This will be their shining week. The Saturday night game, AFC game 2, Pittsburgh heading out to division rival, maybe just mortal enemy, Baltimore Ravens. Ravens playing great all season. Pittsburgh had a hot start to the season. It's really been tapering off. Russell Wilson's a really weird dude. Kind of just personality wise, in my opinion, and just how he plays. But in any event, how do you see this game going?
I see this as like your stereotypical like AFC North smash mouth football. It's probably going to be low scoring.
They have this as a higher over under 43.5 than
Okay.
Chargers and Houston. So,
I would have bet the under.
okay.
But I still have, in this game, I still have the Ravens. I think they're just the better overall team. Lamar Jackson, clear-cut MVP candidates, if not the MVP.
Did you see
So,
the spread for this one?
no, I did not.
Ravens 9.5.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
that's what that's way too much. I disagree with that for sure.
that's a bunch. I would not have guessed that much. I would have thought maybe like 6.5, because then you have to really take a full touchdown, which sure, totally. But I mean, it is you're like division rival, and Tomlin's not going to go down easy. That guy's a genius, and he knows how
Yeah.
to win these games.
And they just both know each other so well. So I could just see the defenses both causing trouble for both sides. But I still gonna give it to the Ravens. However, I will mention special teams though. Justin Tucker has been a little iffy, or more than a little iffy this whole season. I will
You're
say
not wrong.
if it comes down to that, and I was saying it's gonna be kind of close, I think. On the other side, Chris Boswell, the Steelers kicker, has been really well. So
He's the first team All NFL, I think. So yeah,
just something to
beat out
consider.
Aubrey, which they were neck and neck. You could give it to those guys. But yeah, I agree. I think Baltimore just overall is just a better team. Playing at home is really going to help them. I'm not entirely sure what the weather's going to be like. I think they can throw it more efficiently, and I think they can run it much better too. So I think Pittsburgh might have just a little bit of the edge on defense, but Baltimore can put on 40 points kind of in a blink of an eye. I think Lamar kind of goes off, and they can just finish the game out with Derrick Henry just absolutely bulldozing his way to first down. So I agree with you too, though, on the low scoring. Not so much that like both teams are going to score too few points, but I think this could be just like a 30-10 game, and that'd still be on the under. And Baltimore just has a really convincing win. So I would take Baltimore spread and money line and the under. All right.
That
Yeah,
covers
cool.
that one.
All right. So finally finishing out the AFC, Buffalo is going to be hosting Denver, who I don't know. I think that's kind of a surprise playoff team, especially with a rookie quarterback.
Absolutely.
I didn't know Sean Payton could coach up, you know, that well that fast, especially after what we saw with, the Russell Wilson project there last season. But yeah, I definitely surprised. My fingers were crossed that Cincinnati was going to get in. So I thought that would just be like an awesome team to get in there. But they shouldn't have lost to the Patriots week 1. That was stupid.
Yeah, that would have caused a lot of headaches, I feel like, if they just sneaked in somehow.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to guess what the line is on this one? Or did you already see it?
I was just gonna say like around 7. If the previous game we're talking about is that high, like 9, which I definitely agree with, I think this one, in my opinion, is gonna be more Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 8.5.
Okay, so that
Uh,
one, I agree, closer to that, yeah.
I mean, that's enough to be just uncomfortable.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
definitely.
Especially if like Denver, they're down 11 with 3 minutes left and they just kick that field goal and then just it's ran out by that's an 8 point game right there. So,
And I will
uh,
sorry to cut you off for one
No, yeah,
second.
go
I
ahead.
will give Sean Payton his flowers because in the past and stuff, I was like big Sean Payton hater, but he's done a really great job this year. And it, like you said, that I think it is goes understated. A rookie quarterback and making the playoffs. They do look good, and they
I
have a good defense too, underrated.
Yeah, I just don't know what they do like well. They're just like pretty good everywhere. And they might have snuck in just because of algorithms and whatnot, but they could give the Bills some headaches, especially if the Bills get off to a slow start, which they've done a couple times. But yeah, I see Buffalo just kind of running them out of the building. This might be their year. If I'm going to go off and pick a AFC winner right now, I think Buffalo's the hot team to try and stick away from. Over unders
Hmm.
47 and a half. That's actually kind of high. It's maybe an under there too. But I don't know. I could see all these. Well, I don't know. I think the Chargers game is going to be pretty close. But the other two I could see being just beat downs, but still take the under.
47, yeah, I probably agree. I'd probably take the under too.
Just wanted to look at something with the Bills schedule. They didn't play it all this season. They didn't play each other. They play just this wild card game. Buffalo lost to Patriots week 17, but before that, well, beat up on Jets and the Patriots, but then had that really crazy game with Detroit. I think they're riding a good train going into this game.
I know I'm not the biggest Sean Payton fan, but yeah, I still see Buffalo pretty convincingly.
Yeah, totally. I think the AFC, so we got Chargers, Ravens, Bills. Move on. Ravens would be going to Buffalo in the divisional, and LA would travel over to Kansas City. Which, come on, Chargers, do
Wow.
it for it. Come on, do it for us. Anyway,
That would
let's head.
definitely be spicy for
Yeah,
sure.
let's head over to the NFC.
Okay.
And in a repeat of week one in Brazil,
There we go. Yeah. Starting from the beginning, we started off the season.
it was a
Uh,
great game too. Green Bay's going to Philly, but this time in Philly. Into the link we go. And Green Bay's a little hobbled up. Philly's been playing just completely lights out. I wouldn't want to play them at all. Kind of a close spread, 4.5 points. That could be because Green Bay just knows how to play these games. Do you know if it's going to be snowing or rainy or something?
Actually, I don't, but I haven't heard
I'm
anything.
looking. Sunday, it's just gonna be cold.
Yeah, and it's
No
te
rain. 4:30 Eastern time. It'll just be cold. A little bit of snow on Saturday, but oh well. I think the Eagles actually just are gonna put up some real numbers here. Barkley is like a real outside MVP candidate. Definitely offensive player of the year candidate. I think he should have went in to go try and break the single season record, but we can talk about that later, just like as a
yeah,
season
that
recap or
that c-
something.
that
But
could I feel like that could be its own episode.
but I had him in so many leagues. I traded all over the place to get him in drafts and whatnot, and really happy that I did, especially in the dynasty ones, because I can't believe he went in some places he did. Going back and looking at those, but I think he's just been playing lights out and outrageous. He just sets up Philly to do kind of whatever they want. Really, they just get in their own way. Maybe Jalen Hurts has regressed this season a tiny bit, but what do you think?
For this game, I'm gonna tell you exactly how it's gonna go.
Okay.
This game is gonna be way too close the entire time. I can just already tell. This is gonna be one of those games. I do have the Eagles winning, but I just feel like this game is gonna go all the way till the end. This is gonna be one of those. And I think they need to wake up a little bit. I think the Packers are a little bit slept on. Jordan Love was a little bit hurt, I think, from last week or something, but he seems all better now. And when healthy, I think he's a good quarterback. They played us pretty well in week one in a neutral field. AJ Brown hasn't practiced all week, but because he's been dinged up a little bit, so we'll see about him. Technically, Jalen Hurts, he is healthy now, but he's been out about 2 weeks with a concussion, so he hasn't had much playing time. So he'll be a little bit rusty. So yeah, not to make any excuses, but I just think they will. It'll be a little bit closer than people are expecting for like a number two seed and for what all we've seen this year. But I still got an
Well,
Eagles dub.
I was pretty confident last year playing a 7 seed Packers team at home, and it just completely wrecked not only the end of just that entire season's like memory, but completely ruined how I thought this season would go too. It was that bad of a loss. So the Packers can do it. I don't know if they're as spry as they were last season though, but Eagles have been playing great. I think the defense matches up really well too. I think they're just going to get after Love real quick. The front seven is just really athletic and just a bunch of brutes everywhere. They've been winning the turnover battle too, I believe. So yeah, give me the Eagles. Yeah, 45 and a half.
It'd be
Maybe
hot.
on the high side for
It's going to be
a
higher.
close game. Okay, okay. All right. 48-45. Here we come.
I
Uh
I will say though, on the topic of like talking about special teams earlier and stuff like that, I am a little bit concerned about the Jake Elliott because he's been a little bit inconsistent too. Like when we're going back to Justin Tucker.
okay.
So just something to note, but it's important enough to mention for sure.
Yeah, well,
I don't know who the Packers kicker is though. I think they've been kind of going through people, cycling through some, if I'm not mistaken. But
I'm pretty sure it's
um,
Brandon McManus.
I think it is actually. They used to have another guy, I think Anders Carlson, and then somebody like so they've just been cycling people.
Anyway,
They lost Christian Watson.
yeah, lost Watson, which I mean, the receiver pool there has been so
True. Yeah,
like
it's
hit and miss. You can't really
yeah.
say like who the number one or two is or anything like that.
We need Connor for his input on the Packers side.
Yeah, for sure.
But also just one more thing, like the Packers too, they got nothing to lose. You know what I'm
Yeah, well,
saying? That
that's
kind of
what I'm
thing.
saying about the 7-2 seed. They absolutely had nothing to lose last year, and they came in and just whipped the Cowboys, which were like a had like set a couple of like defensive
Hmm.
records that season.
Yeah,
So
and then you guys were at home, and we were always talking about how you like the Cowboys' record at the time at home was almost like it was like elite, you know,
yeah,
like you
oh
know, and
my
so
God, the Eagles like quietly are a 14-3 type of team. Like even though you lost to Washington, if you hadn't done that,
and
you didn't lose a
yeah,
game since
and
September.
and week two was like Kirk Cousins, and that was like the last play of the game, one of the last plays in the Falcons
Yeah,
drive. Yeah,
there's
so
a lot of duds on this schedule for sure. But
you can't
um
pick your schedule,
yeah, no, for sure. And but I
but it
still think Barkley's just insane. So,
yeah, but it's already yeah, it's already harder next year. We see.
well, let's keep going. After that, we have
Go Birds.
I think the Eagles are going to win that one, and I really don't think it's going to be that close. But
I hope not.
I trust your judgment, though. You know your team better than I.
I mean, I hope it's a blowout, but I
I think the fans are going to be nuts. There's no way there's going to be like a question of like, oh man, there's a good contingent of Lambeau Field. It's not going to be like that.
oh yeah,
Anyway, going to the Sunday night game, a marquee slot. Do we have a marquee game for you?
yeah.
The Washington Commanders going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Somebody had to win the NFC South. So they gave it to Tampa Bay because just why not? They had like, 8 wins or something. And Washington, another team where rookie quarterback, definitely a better chance, I would say, to get in the playoffs than Denver, but they start off the year so hot. I mean, had like a couple crazy wins, including that one against the Bears, but probably the people holding Washington to make the playoff ticket were pretty surprised. Anyway, they're going to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's favored by 3. Where do you see this game going? Highest over under of 50 and a half.
I was trying to see if they had played earlier this year. First, just initial gut reaction. I do like your like a little knock on the NFC South, but I am pretty high on the Bucks. I do think when he catches fire, Baker Mayfield is deadly, and he's got the weapons.
Yeah.
Um, I like their run game. I like Bucky Irving. I think he's sick. Um, just really speedy. Like I love watching him.
Yeah.
Um, and I can see their defense, their really speedy defense. I could really see them giving Jaden Daniels a tough time, just a more mobile quarterback. So I see the Bucks pretty easily winning this one.
Yeah, I think they're going to beat up on them. Once they started really getting Jalen McMillan in the right spot on that offense, they have just been absolutely rolling over people. But I will say, if Washington's going to win this game, it's because of Zach Ertz. When that guy's playing pretty well, they're like a way different team. And it's awesome because that guy's been in the league for so long. But if he can just keep moving the sticks for them, gets in the end zone all the time. So look to Zach Ertz having a big game if Washington ends up pulling it out. And do you think it goes over 50.5?
That's kind of high.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty high. It'd have
Like
to be Tampa Bay going just off into town
berserk.
because Washington isn't scoring nearly as prolifically as they were at the start off the season.
Yeah, and then to your point about the well, you said Zach Ertz. I actually also think Austin Eckler could be a sleeper. He went
Yeah,
on
totally.
he went on IR a few weeks ago, but he's back
There was someone else coming back too. Oh, Montgomery's going to come back for the
for the
playoffs,
Lions.
apparently, but we'll see about that for next week. Anyway, finally, so yeah, I think we both are thinking Tampa Bay there. Finally, Minnesota traveling to the LA Rams. Minnesota had a chance to be the number one seed, but could not stop Jamar Gibbs in week 18. And they are the five seed, one of the strongest five seeds in recent memory, going off to, again, maybe not like one of the greatest teams, but a division winner playing the Rams, but they will be in Arizona because of the wildfires, pushing the game out of town. So LA Rams logo on the Zona field. Here we go.
Just what a crazy turn of events. Sam Darnold, he came back to his old self like a week ago, right?
Hmm.
He looked like Sam Darnold of old.
But that
It's
could
just
just be a game. I mean, dudes can have a week off.
that's
And it was
true.
week 18. Like on one hand, I mean, you're playing for the number one seed, but the Vikings know they're good. And I don't think they're coached in a way where they think like, well, you have to have the home field to, have a shot. They know they can go anywhere and beat up on anybody.
That's true. I am a little higher on the Rams defense, though a little bit younger and inexperienced. They have a lot of speed. Yeah, Darnold, I really do think it comes down to Darnold, to how he plays. If he's going to turn the ball over like he did last week, then it's going to be the Rams. If he's going to play like how he has played most this year and carried them to like that 14-2 or whatever record it was and basically shut me up most of the year, then they're going to
Hmm.
win. The Vikings, I think that said they've gotten a turnover in like every single game this year.
Yeah, I think I saw that too on Red Zone. The Vikings just play like old school smash mouth football on defense, and they just hit really hard and they cover holes really well. The run game that they've been able to create with Kyron Williams, I think, might get a little stymied by them, especially just on a field that they're not really used to, because it's going to be that like outdoor grass type of thing too.
And
So
and how many Rams fans are we really expecting to show up to this game? I mean, now that's in Arizona, like, is this going to be a Vikings home game in Arizona?
that would be awesome.
Like, because they'll travel,
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
and the LA, like, who would have known how much it would have been made a difference at SoFi anyway? But now, given it's in Arizona, and now, like,
So they did play earlier in the season. They played in LA and the Rams won 30-20.
in LA,
Yeah.
what was,
It was October 24th.
do you happen to have Sam Darnold's stats?
Yeah, Darnold in that game threw for 240.
So that
Where's
was
the
like one of their few losses then, because weren't they?
Okay, he was
Yeah.
18 for 25, 240, two touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked three
Oh,
times.
oh, no interceptions. So
Yeah.
he
It
didn't.
was
I guess maybe Stafford or something went off.
Stafford had four touchdowns and
Oh,
an interception.
okay.
Puka had 100 plus. Demarcus Robinson had two touchdowns. Kyron almost had a 100-yard game.
Okay, yeah. If the Rams go off like that, I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to be able to keep up with that, even with his weapons.
Dude, the Rams can still do that too. They're not.
They're
They can
like
turn on where they need to. They're weird, man,
yeah,
because they're like
they're like the
they.
Packers to me sometimes. Like
Well,
they can be
check this
average,
out.
but they can go off.
Here's the end of their season. And I can't really count week 18 because who really knows what they're doing that whole time. But they lost to the Seahawks 30-25. So, okay.
And that's a
But,
division, yeah.
but the three games before that, okay, Cardinals, they won all three, but it was 13-9, 19-9, 12-6. And then the 44-42 Bills game. But that we're like in November at that point again. I don't know if that offense really just is as boomy as they have been in the past.
I feel like they play up to their opponent, it sounds like. I just
12-6 again. Well, that Niners game was rainy. That was a bad.
I totally get what you're saying, but the fact if as long as they have McVay, Stafford, Puka, and Cup, then I'm always gonna, give them a chance.
There's only been 3 games out of their whole season that have been more than one score games. Yeah, they every game they play is close. So it is the closest spread with 2.5. Minnesota's still favored.
How we feeling? Final thoughts?
I
Who you got?
think Minnesota wins that one. Just kind of goes chalk, and we see Tampa Bay travel up to Detroit next week and Philadelphia, and or no. It would not be chalk. It'd be Minnesota as the 5 seed. So
Makes total sense. I could totally see it that they've been playing better the whole year. I still got the Rams.
okay, that will be where we defer then this week.
Yes.
So, anyways, they're just like a final recap on either AFC or NFC that you had wanted to put on this. We're looking ahead to the week 2 potential matchups.
I think like looking back to how many teams specifically were in this year that weren't in it last year. So like what the Broncos,
Washington.
Chargers, looks like, right? Steelers in it last year?
I'm looking it off right now.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
Okay,
But
AFC was Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Texans, Browns, Dolphins, Steelers.
wow, that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, on the AFC side, it's the no, not Chargers, Chargers and Broncos. And then on the NFC side, Niners, Cowboys, Lions, Bucks, Eagles, Rams, Packers. The number 1 and 2 seed from last year, Niners and Cowboys are out.
Mm,
Washington and Minnesota taking their place, which I'm surprised. I was most surprised about Minnesota, especially with Sam Darnold.
definitely.
And really, Minnesota did a good thing here. I want to bring up something I think that you'll definitely agree with. They were sneaky here at the end of the season. And they went out
I,
and they bought some security.
I know where you're going.
And that security happened to be in the bright shining man of Daniel Jones. And God forbid something happens to Sam Darnold. You know where they're gonna look? They're gonna look they're gonna look Daniel Jones' way. And they're gonna be happy with that decision. Maybe not a Super Bowl favorite anymore, but an outsider for sure. Especially if Daniel Jones comes in.
Oh my God. If that were to happen and he does well, oh my God, Kevin O'Connell extension is going to be one of the biggest you ever seen, I guarantee.
The shrines that will be made to Daniel Jones will just trounce the Nick Foles shrines that were made.
I know this would probably never happen, but I saw somebody saying like about teams that are mentioning like trading for Kevin O'Connell
Oh, really?
because he's on the last year of his deal or something like that.
Dang. Well, it used to be that teams would trade like front office people and stuff,
Yeah,
but that just doesn't happen too much anymore or at all.
for sure. Spicy take. I agree with you again with the Vikings. That's why I went Rams. I even after seeing the 14 and 2, I still can't get old Sam Darnold out of my head. That's why I got the Rams. I
Man, like everything just has to go right for the Rams to win, in my opinion. Like the Vikings can mess up and they can have a couple of turnovers maybe that are stupid or like really goof up on a 4th and goal or something and still be able to pull it out. But the Rams, if they have like 1 or 2 of those, that's about it.
and then what do you slightly off topic, but what do you feel about JJ McCarthy? If you're the Vikings right now,
You
do you
hang on to
trade
him.
would you don't have to rush it because you technically own the rights to all of them, but
Hmm.
would you consider trading him and then just keeping Darnold or extending Darnold?
Let me look real quick at the draft order because Tennessee has the first pick, right?
Because I heard some argument, again, not a draft analyst or anything by that, but I've heard somebody say that he would be like the number one pick in this year's draft, or like definitely number one quarterback, they said. So teams would be willing to take trade for him.
Do you know what Minnesota gave up for him
That's a good
to get Daniel
question.
Jones? Because like New York's in there number 3, and
You mean
could they?
McCarthy? I think you said Daniel Jones, Vikings.
Well, yeah, with the Vikings, they
Yeah, trade
traded
for.
something.
So it said Vikings. So they traded the number 11 pick overall plus 129 and 157 for to move up one spot to 10 and then get 203.
Oh, last year?
Yeah, so basically like a
Oh, well, I was saying more for this year. Like what did Minnesota give to the Giants for Daniel Jones?
oh, wasn't he a free agent? He's a
Was
free
he
agent.
cut or something?
Yeah, he was cut.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm saying yeah, he didn't. They
Oh
didn't have to
yeah,
give
that is
anything.
it. Okay,
So
because
he just
New York's sitting at number three, and they could just trade the third pick, I suppose. But
Janitor's just smart. He's like, hey, look at Sam Darnold. That's kind of like me right now, like got a higher pick, struggling, and he rebuilt his career. Now, hopefully, he can do the same for me.
let's say you're the Saints with the ninth pick, and you don't think Derek Carr's the answer, and Spencer Rattler is just not gonna ever,
Oh, oh,
become anything.
I would do that in a heartbeat, but I actually think higher than the Saints.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at other ones too. I don't know if the
Okay,
Raiders would do it with six. The
I think
Jags have the fifth, and that's like because it's not like he came in and he blew it up. He didn't do anything this year. You're like still just reading off of last year's draft board. But the QB prospects this year are just not what they have been in years past. And if you're like we got to get moving, then
hmm,
which I feel like the Raiders are probably pretty close to that. The Jags have got to be freaking out.
yeah, for sure. They don't know what they're doing. The
The Jets
Raiders,
have to be freaking out at seven.
oh, definitely the Jets. Yeah, they have what? No GM, no head coach, I think. Same for the Raiders now.
Well, so I don't know. I just don't know the QB
I
prospects or like the depth of it as
Yeah,
much as I.
but if we're just talking like actual teams interested, I could even see Tennessee Titans being interested in JJ McCarthy.
Man, what a trade that would be. Oh, that would be awesome.
I'm just saying I'm not it's gonna happen, but I could see it like I mean, I ain't going another game with Will Levis as my quarterback or Mason Rudolph. So Cleveland Browns, I mean, there were Deshaun Watson, I think he tore his Achilles again, they said.
Again, yeah, today he has, and they did surgery again
I
on it. So
mean,
I
I
already
love
thought he was done, but
they're trying to find somebody. Dorian Thompson isn't the answer. I love Jameis, but he's on a 1 year. He's gonna be on another team.
yeah,
So yeah, they need quarterback. Then number three, Giants.
Giants absolutely need one.
I could number four, no.
Nah, they're Drake May's their dude. They like
Five,
him too.
five, no. But every year get lower and lower on
Yeah.
Lawrence. And then Raiders, yes. Jets, yes.
Yes.
Panthers.
Panthers.
What do you see about Panthers? I think they're gonna keep Young. He looks good
Yeah.
enough.
He bought himself some time.
Yeah. And then Saints, yeah, Saints and then Bears now. So I think that almost like five teams.
Yeah, like right away. There's
Would
probably only like three or four dudes
if you
in
were one
this
of
year's
those,
class.
if that was just randomly the Cowboys, would you rather have JJ McCarthy or Shador Sanders?
Um, I'd probably rather have McCarthy still.
I
Shador's
think I
cool, but Shador just like has like all the hype behind him with just Colorado too. It's just kind of like a hype factory type of setting, in my opinion. Not that I think that that's the only reason why he's on any type of radar, but I feel like that adds a lot of fuel to the fire.
yeah, I think he's got the talent for sure. I just think sometimes it maybe just goes to his head a little bit too much.
I would trade a
And
high fucking Pickford, Travis Hunter though for sure. That guy is crazy. He's so good. The oh man, I'm blanking on his name, even though I just watched the Ohio State game from front to back. But their huge receiver, I think his last name's Smith. That guy's gonna be awesome. He's just so
what
much bigger than everyone.
what team?
Ohio State.
Oh, Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
guy is gonna be
And he's really
awesome.
young too.
Yeah. I don't think he's in. I don't think he's up for this draft, but when that guy comes in, I'd give up a high pick for him
Oh yeah, he's gonna be a
for
problem
sure.
for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, any last thoughts on the playoffs this weekend? So it's kind of crazy. The NFL season, regular season's already come to an end. For some of us, just we are waiting for the draft now. It's crossing our fingers that some real good dudes fall down to number 11. But well, I mean, that's where we got Mike, I believe. So I believe in that number.
Mm,
Yeah, I think we're only split on the Vikings Rams, which would change up a little bit of the playoff seeding for the second game or the second week. No, it
yeah.
wouldn't. It would keep it the same. Just Minnesota would be going to Detroit instead of LA.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jeff. Sorry we had to pick the Chargers.
Yeah, I he probably would too though. he's been a little down on his Texans, even though they could absolutely win that game.
They could rebound.
I I don't think Houston can beat Kansas City though.
Of all the games, which team would be most shocked if they were to win or just make it to the next round out of all those ones?
Hmm.
Even if you're just looking past just the maybe even the game itself, even though that's hard to say, but like if you're just saying they made it to the next round, even is there something like that would be kind of surprising? I mean, for sure, I mean the Broncos, I guess
Yeah, I
that's the
think it's
obvious
the
one.
Broncos. And then I'd say the Steelers, just of how
That's true.
really
Russell Wilson,
inconsistent they've been. Like
if
they have it's like a sour taste in your mouth.
and if they were to knock out Lamar Jackson in like that first round, he would really get a lot of like crap for like his whole playoff record and everything like that.
Yeah. Anyway, I would say the Broncos, but all these teams definitely have earned a spot. And I think it's going to be a lot of really good games. Maybe some blowouts, but definitely could see some really close ones. Any last thoughts, Andy?
No, I think that's it pretty much. Go Birds.
Okay.
I think
God
that's all
damn
I
it.
gotta say.